Okay, about 1 minute to go. 1 minute. All right, here we go. I've got 11:02, so let's get started. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Amid recession fears and turbulent times, many organizations are boosting productivity, scalability, and are building resilient supply chains. So, how are these companies doing it? Well, the objectives for today is to present research findings on how to effectively shorten the transition or going from where we were to where we want to go, right? I mean, even from a physics point of view, we are traveling at 1.3 miles an hour, our galaxy is, through space, heading towards Vega, a new North Star, and away from Polaris. So if we are basing our true north today, our business decisions on Polaris, we're already falling behind because the galaxy is going that way. You see, and so we have to transition and we have to create change because, again, it's happening, folks. And so we want to describe those practices that top organizations are practicing. We have a list of the top employers for you today from Forbes. And we also have a case study of one of the top 100 organizations that I'll also be featuring at my presentation to the American Society for Quality Convention later on this month in Phoenix, Arizona. The next thing is we want to describe leadership practices that really make a difference across the organization. And again, if we are an authoritative style, the millennials, Gen Xers and Zers, and the new Alpha, they just won't stand for that. They are demanding more transparency. They are demanding respect. They are demanding work-life balance. And so these are some things that typical authoritative type of behavior might have a little bit of difficult time with. And so you don't want to be out of touch, right? You want to be in step and lockstep with your organization and their needs so that you're able to properly motivate them and get them to the next level of excellence and profitability. And so the people portion is going to be a big factor today. Leaders and units and the executives have to form a partnership. And so it can't be, I pay, I say, shut up and do it. It has to be, let's work at this collaboratively. And that's so important. Change involves not only the executives, but also the local units and pushing the decisions down to closest to the customer is what we say. And now this study came out of the Center for Effective Organizations out of the University of Southern California. Now, it is a little bit classic, okay? And the study was done back in the late 90s, early 2000s by Dr. Serge Lashutka and Sue Morman. And Serge was actually my consultant at that time when I was a sales manager at Pacificare. And so Serge helped me to reorganize my department, and we were able to take the department from 52 million in sales to 420 million in sales in about 18 months time. So does this work? Proof is in the pudding, folks. So let's take a look at what some of these techniques might be. First of all, we want to go from incremental change, right? Taking a look at quarter by quarter. This quarter, we want to raise our sales, raise our EBITDA, reduce our direct labor costs, CapEx, whatever, right? So some things we measure going up, some things we measure going down, right? Scrap, we measure going down. Productivity, we measure going up. So meaningful metrics are very important. However, we need to look further than quarter at a time. And so when we do that, we actually change fundamentally. And fundamental change means that we totally spin the current paradigm or the current structure on its head. And as I mentioned Zoom earlier before, we are now seeing other types of paradigm busters that have totally changed our world, right? So how many of you go shopping for groceries these days? How many of you order, right, either by the telephone or online, and then go and pick them up curbside? Man, who would have thought, right? But you control freaks that I was talking about before. Oh, I can't let somebody else shop for me. You know, they don't know what I want. You gotta let go. You gotta let go, right? You gotta get in step with what's going on. So telemedicine, Uber, DoorDash, you know, and there's not only convenient, but again, you can still be productive at the office. Order your boba, order your Starbucks coffee, and somebody comes and delivers it to you at work or at your home. Man, is that convenient? Holy cow. Another thing that is changing is our environmental, social, and government governance ratings. And these are ratings that now other organizations and consumers are taking a look at. So if you're thinking of merging or acquiring another organization, part of your due diligence now will be to take a look at another organization's environmental, social, and governance. And so environmental, are they responsible? Are they reducing the carbon footprint? The social, are they contributing to society and the local community? Are their employees involved in outreach, maybe tutoring students or walking for the pink ribbon? You see? And so this is becoming more important as it are other measures. And the bottom line with this is organizations with a higher ESG rating, people will switch brands. 37% of the people will switch brands if your organization is now more socially and environmentally responsible. 73% will pay more, not less, because you're using an ingredient that is earth friendly rather than using something cheaper, right? Because whatever reason. So again, higher cost, yes, you can sell it for more. Also reduce your lead time. You reduce your lead time, you can then charge a premium for being able to deliver faster. And check this out, 94% of our customers will stay loyal to us. So again, what's your acquisition cost? You know, and how long do people stay with your organization? And you have to take a look at what's called the lifetime value of a client, which is approximately 20 years. How much revenue do they give you? And if 94% of the folks are staying with you, holy cow, you see? So according to the American Marketing Association, it costs 20 times more to acquire a new customer than it does just to go deeper with existing customers or to keep existing customers. Now, doesn't that make sense? Accelerating change means developing effective skills that are going to help us navigate. And those skills then are moving the decisions further down with the folks. And we're having some issues here with where we're at. Okay. Boy. Okay. So creating ways to have dialogue, having all hands meetings, having coffees with the CEO. In some places, people don't even know who the CEO is. And so if we can fully engage our employees, a Gallup Harvard study shows that organizations that fully engage their employees outperform their competitors by 175%. Holy cow, right? So getting employees involved in problem solving, getting employees involved in focus groups, getting employees involved in special interest groups. Those are things that help us. Now, command and control works best when things are time bound, but of course, that's not going to endear or engage employees at all. And so, companies that do have some of these skills within their fabric of their organization, even robust diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, are going to be more productive because their employees are more engaged. And these are the top 10 best employers in the world. Samsung, Microsoft, I'm not going to read those. Southwest Airlines, in spite of what's going on recently, they're still in the top 10. So today we have a case study from one of the top 100 organizations, and that is Jollibee Foods. And Jollibee Foods is the largest restaurant chain in the Philippines, but they also own 80% of Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf and Smashburger. They bought 100% of Smashburger back 4 or 5 years ago, and then just recently bought Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. In the restaurant business, we have the front of the house, and the front of the house is the lobby, right? You walk in, maybe the outside, the patio, the schmaltzy part of the house. Then there's the back of the house, and the back of the house is where all the magic happens, where they assemble our meals and bring it to us, right? Bring it to the guests nice and hot and make sure that they got the orders straight. Now, the back of the house, the kitchen specifically, is called the heart of the house. But for Jollibee Foods, the heart of the house is their employees. So much so that they have an employee-centric initiative that takes a look at involving the employees. It also making sure that management is endeared to the employees. They have a post-COVID strategy. They have a succession strategy. They have open and honest communications. And these are things that are going to help you accelerate change rather than hide it. Employees want more transparency, not less transparency. At the leadership level, we are looking at providing clear and compelling vision and mission. Going back to Jollibee, the compelling mission for them is to bring back the joy of eating for their customers. So much so that their signature dish is called Chicken Joy, and it comes with Jolly Spaghetti or palabo, which is rice noodles and shrimp. And so that's compelling. Bring the joy. Man, wow, even that. Bring the joy of eating back. Or how about this? To positively impact every life I touch. That was the mission at one of the places where I work. That's my mission. That's my purpose in life. You see? And so it's higher than just making money, but it's for meeting the critical needs and serving our employees and customers. We want to communicate expectations. We want to have accountability. We want to build the organizational structure, take a look at where we're strong, and bring in experts where we're maybe not so strong. We want to define the new employee-employer relationship. And as I mentioned, the employees now and future employees, they want to be more involved. So if you are not an involving kind of person, if you are telling employees what to do, they're not going to hang around. And Steve Jobs said, we don't hire smart people to tell them what to do. we hire smart people so they can tell us what to do. And really smart leaders hire people that are smarter than they are so that they can push through diverse thinking and drive the business forward. And that's so important. And then making sense of everything, because this process is not going to be smooth. Sometimes it seems like it's topsy-turvy and you have unexpected glitches, like some of the glitches that we had today, and you're going to have to shift. The organization is going to have to shift. We're going to have to not only be proactive, but have some contingency plans in the event that something goes wrong. At the unit level, we need shared meaning. And shared meaning in Six Sigma is what we call the operational definition. And so, does that mean the same to you? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, that means the same to me. Versus, well, no, I thought you said, you see? So we want everybody rowing the same direction. Self-design means that we are designing the architecture and the structure based on what makes sense for our organization, our employees, our community, and society. And again, that ESG rating is going to be really important as we're looking at mergers and acquisitions. It is so important that now at the public sector, we're looking at going from about 118 organizations taking a look at that to over 3,000 organizations worldwide, really taking a serious look at that. Systemic view. When we follow a solid process, we get solid results. So building a system, whether it's a business system or a production system or a finance system that is standardized, that people can understand and that can be not only replicated, right? If you're merging and acquiring, just plug and play wherever you're merging and applying, but also scalable so that we're able to grow from that platform instead of, oh, that didn't work, let's just change it. Oh, that didn't work. Again, build on the system and then just plug and play as you grow. Next one is during the change, we see on the left there, what are the practices that accelerate learning, shared meaning, systemic view, learning from experiences, sharing from each other. And if you have any folks that are getting ready to retire, boy, oh boy, oh boy, put a protege with them and capture all that knowledge that they have, because if they've been working with you for 40 years, they retire. That's 40 years worth of experience that's going to walk out your front door. And then if they come back as a consultant and go to your competitor, all right, so we don't want that. Now, during change, we also want to focus as much as we can on the organization. More we, less me. Okay, so again, if you're that authoritative, egocentric individual, you're always the smartest person in the room, all the great ideas are yours, nothing moves unless you say, that ain't gonna do it, folks. All right, you've got to focus on the organization and focus on the people and developing those skills and capabilities. Without the right skills and capabilities, your transformation will quickly die. By the way, the last one, making sense or sense making. Just sit down and every once in a while, having that meeting and say, hey guys, does what we're doing make sense? Because if it doesn't, what would make sense? You see, you got to be open. It's about changing, constant changing. So leading learning means leading processes, sending folks to conferences, having affinity groups, maybe women in leadership. and anybody can go, but the women at your organization are talking about the glass ceiling. They're talking about issues that relate to women. Here's a statistic for you. Organizations with strong women representation outperform their competitors by 25%. Ladies, arm up, the back, pat yourself on the back. Now, how important is your gender? How important is that diversity? How important are you to the bottom line? You see? So give yourselves the credit and build that in by design rather than by accident. Developing capabilities also means bringing in some fourth industrial revolution technology. If the name of your company is, ABC technology, and we're still doing things like a caveman, really? So bring in some artificial intelligence, some augmented reality, some machine learning, and then the Internet of Things, and start connecting everything. There are companies out there called lighthouse companies that are implementing these things, and their machines will tell the mechanics, hey, Joe, one of my bearings is going out. You might want to think about servicing me. What? And we still have caveman companies practicing PM. PM is like when the machine breaks down, right? We're really not anticipating. We don't have the machine on a profile. We don't have the statistics on that machine. Mean time to failure, mean time to repair. Well, I don't know, whatever. Okay. So again, we want to get into the fourth industrial revolution. And then finally, defining that relationship. We want to take a look at what opportunities there are at your organization. So you need to do an assessment. Obviously, a SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. But we also want to start those dialogues, a discussion, as we talked about. We want to learn from past experience and maybe have an after action. So that project didn't go so well. What might we do different? Shared meaning. Again, does it mean the same to you as it does to me? Systemic view and self-design. And guys, everything is up for grabs. If you haven't read this book, great book, Sacred Cows Make the Best Burgers. Okay? You cannot have sacred cows at your organization, your brother-in-law, even the owner. And boy, I've seen some organizations where the owner has been the most destructive person there. So if that's the case, send them, down the street to their lab or retire them early, or something, because some of the owners are more traditional and they just can't see past their nose. So we need to, again, have the right leadership to get the right outcomes. In summary, organizations that embrace these things, actually change and move faster than organizations that don't. Organizations that invest in their employees by training, getting them involved, developing the employees, stretching their employees, hiring the right type of employees, build their human capital. And human capital is now part of the metrics for the Securities and Exchange Commission at the public merger and acquisition level. And we'll probably be seeing that trickling down. So yes, human capital is now listed as an asset on our financial statements. So what are you doing to improve the human capital at your organization? In conclusion, building the capability, building the change in your organization necessitates partnership at the executive level, at the unit level, and driving it down in the organization to what I call leadership at every level, so that you've got a good groundswell of movement and cooperation and collaboration. People and the organization have more commitment when you involve them, and part of that decision is their decision. You see, there's more ownership to that. So we want to be able to, again, engage the employees. We are out of time, and I hope that you enjoyed the 30-minute format. You can scan the QR code there, and we would be happy to send you today's slides. I apologize that some of the slides were not readable. Best laid plans of mice and men. And in this case, I think it was a compatibility issue with the software. So again, won't happen the next time. And so we learned from the experience. We hope that you were able to gain some benefit from today's experience. Please email us, reach out to us on LinkedIn, and we want to thank you for your time. And we hope to see you again at next month. We'll be announcing next month, probably in about a week. We'll see you then, folks. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us. All the best.